So in this presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about choosing a career path. Many people think that once they've chosen an educational program, they've chosen a career path, or they think too narrowly about a career path. But the truth is, the better fit that there is between what you do and who you are, the more satisfied you're going to be. So it's worth spending some time thinking about, how am I going to choose a career path? When you think about a career path, what we're really talking about is the general direction in which you're going. We're not talking about choosing a very super specific job, and we're certainly not talking about choosing for the rest of your life. We're really thinking about the next steps and what's the general direction you're going to go in. Why would we spend any time thinking about that? Well, one of the best reasons is to find about options you didn't know about. The truth is that new positions, new careers, new types of work are being created all the time. We only know what we see, and most of us haven't seen very much. So when you think about your career path and you spend some time investigating your options, you're going to find out about choices you didn't know about before. It may well be that you end up doing what you always thought you would do, but we want that to be because you thought about it, not because you defaulted to it. It's also important to think about a career path to verify or to correct the assumptions you make. Let me give you a common example. A lot of times people think that the only way into a federal job is through the military. While it is true that that's pretty common, it's also untrue that it's the only way. If you don't spend some time researching your options and understanding how people get into various careers, you may well make missteps, waste time, and waste money. And the truth is, moving purposefully toward a career goal, even if you later change that goal, is always better than standing still. You know the old saying, it's easier to steer a moving ship. So in this presentation, we're going to talk about one way to investigate a career path, and that's by a self-assessment of your interests. Now, interests are really only one way to begin to think about careers. There's personality, values, goals, skills, abilities. There's all kinds of ways. But interests is a way that's fairly common because everyone can relate to it. They can think about what they're interested in and explore careers that might allow them to be near or utilize that interest in their career. And then we'll talk about how to find careers that match your preferences, interests, or otherwise, and we'll end with some strategies for progress. Why would we self-assess? Well, self-assessment provides a framework for career exploration. It's always good to know who you are, because understanding what motivates you as an individual is going to help you find a career and job that fits you. And as I mentioned, we'll use interests, but there are plenty of other ways to self-assess and explore. But really, the best career path choices, the best educational choices, always begin with an understanding of who you are. You can only tolerate so much of a job or an educational path that is in opposition to who you are at the core. This site is called O-Net. It's the federal government's job information data bank, and it contains all kinds of information about 21st century careers in the United States. O-Net offers you an opportunity to take a self-assessment, and then we'll show you results that match your assessment results. If you're a veteran, you'll want to click here. Otherwise, you'll want to access that feature by clicking here. On this page, you'll see 3 different ways to explore careers, but the assessment is this one right here. And what you can do is simply start the assessment results, and you'll be taken to an interest profile. Now, as I mentioned before, interests are just one way to explore, but this one's kind of interesting because you can actually state your preferences and have O-Net provide for you a list of occupations and careers that match up with what you say you are most interested in. It's pretty intuitive. When you get the results, you can dig more deeply into any profession that is shown in those results using the information on O-Net. This is just one way to explore, but it really does provide a direct connection between what you're interested in and work that aligns with those preferences. Now, another way to explore is also found on the home page of O-Net, and that's here under Advanced Search. You can choose to display career options through naming your preferences in abilities, interests, as we already saw, knowledge, skills, tools, technology. Any of these will allow you to see careers that match the preferences you select in these categories. Now, O-Net's a huge site. The good news is it has a lot of great information, and the bad news is it has a lot of great information, and it can seem really overwhelming. So just know that a career coach is happy to work with you in person or on the phone to talk about the results of your exploration with O-Net, or to suggest a completely different way that you might explore reasonable career paths. And as I mentioned before, I showed you those couple of ways to self-assess. Self-assessment is just a framework for exploration. And so your interests are just one strategy for exploration. And all interests have a place in your life, but they may not indicate career direction. So you may find that exploring interests isn't actually all that helpful to you. And the bottom line is, in any assessment or any exploration, if the results don't seem right, if what you're being shown as possible options makes you scratch your head, then chuck that method, work with a career coach, and find something that does make sense. There's the address for O-Net that you can use, and some instructions on how to do the advanced search by interests as I demonstrated. You'll get the best results from any career exploration when you read about any job that is interesting to you, but especially those that you really know nothing about. There's two common missteps that I often see people make when they're trying to explore career paths. One is to assume that they know everything there is to know about a career, when maybe it is true that they only know some of the aspects of that career. And the other is ignoring all of the options that they've never had a chance to learn about simply because their life context hasn't given them exposure to it. So when you're looking at O-Net or when you're doing career exploration of any sort, read about any job that's interesting to you, but especially those that you know nothing about. The goal, a greater understanding of what would make a career appealing for you, to learn about options and what they are called, and to identify several possible types of work to further explore. Only you will know when you have enough information to feel comfortable in a decision, but I promise you this, the more you know, the better decision you will make. The goal is not to choose your career. The goal is to learn about options so you can make a good decision about the next step. Research tells us that you will have at least 3 careers in your lifetime, 3 distinct and separate arenas where you work. So you're not choosing for the rest of your life, but what you are doing is learning enough to make a good decision about what's next. Once you've got some ideas, find someone in the field or industry that you're interested in and talk to them to learn more. Read more on O-Net or another wonderful resource called the Occupational Outlook Handbook, where you can learn all about what is involved in a job, including how much does it pay? What are the chances for advancement? Is that a growing or a shrinking occupation? And how do people get into that profession? These resources will help you answer basic questions that will help you make a good decision about your career. Building your network will also always help you make career decisions. Searching on LinkedIn for people with the job title you're interested in or who work for a company you're interested in, and then seeing if you can reach out to them. Talk to friends of your parents or friends of your neighbors and the parents and neighbors of your friends. Just gather information from individuals in your life who have experience and can speak to what you might want to do. The more you know, the better decision you will make. Here are the addresses of those sites where you could possibly learn more. And I hope that you'll come and see us in Career Services and let us work with you on your career path if you feel you are still deciding.